And deputations by appointment, we've got Simon Britton on behalf of Think Papanui regarding item 8, the Residents' Forum. Welcome, Simon. Thanks for coming in today and engaging with us.
Thank you. Tēnā koutou, kia ora to the Chair, Councillors and Mayor. I'm speaking today in my capacity as someone who volunteers their own time and some of their own money to encourage community engagement with Council. So for some context on that, and then I'll speak to the agenda item 8. So 4 years ago I started an initiative called Think Papanui, and it had the specific purpose of supporting community engagement with local government. My motivation for that was an observation that a lot of people I spoke to in the community couldn't really connect their lives and their own priorities with council and community board activities. And I'm sure there's a range of reasons for that, including how easy people found information to access on, for example, reports, agendas, minutes, information on projects in action and so on. And of course we're all busy and we've all got our own priorities and motivations and interests. So I established Think Papanui really as a local, hyper-local news and community engagement initiative. The specific motivations around engaging people with and keeping people informed with what was happening in the local area in the Papanui ward. And I've been doing that for 4 years now. It's established a reasonable reach in the local community. I get a lot of engagement, particularly on local news stories, and if people come for the news and stay for the information about local government, that works fine for me. So I'm really supportive of today's proposal for a residents' forum. I note the results from the council survey of residents, and my take on that is that if council continues doing what it's always done, then the risk is it's going to keep getting what it has been getting. We're not going to find a solution by continuing to do the same things. And I was particularly motivated to put my hand up and come and speak this morning, actually looking at the response on social media to the council's Facebook post and the Newsline item about the Residents' Forum, and there seemed to be a reasonably negative and critical response, and a fair bit of why bother, you never listen, and a side dish of why don't you fix the roads in the east. And I thought that actually, in its own slightly ironic way, was an endorsement for the initiative. And the other comment I'd make on that is, while it's great to get feedback on social media, that feedback is not representative, or certainly doesn't come from a completely representative of our community. So it's good to take it and keep that in its place, but also to take feedback in other ways as well. I don't think there's any single tool or lever to pull to address community concerns and the cynicism, I think was the word I read, around council. I don't think what I'm doing with Think Papanui is the answer. I believe it helps and makes a contribution. And likewise, I think the Residents' Forum will help and make a contribution as well. By definition, the objective here is to reach people who are hard to reach or who don't engage, and of course that's going to be hard. And what I do see in the proposal is a design approach, or user-centred design, which is really all about a collaborative, low-cost, short turnaround kind of approach of starting out just by reaching the people that you want to connect with or assist, and ask those questions, ask why. So I would ask the committee to support the proposal today. I'd really look to see what comes from it. I'll be keen to contribute from my own perspective to that as well. And finally too, I'll just repeat an offer I've made before, coming back to Think Papanui to close. If there are passionate people or groups in other parts of the city who are interested in doing something similar, I'm happy to share my experience, and I'll input into other areas for free with that. Kia ora.
Thanks, Simon. You'll leave time for questions. Tim? Oh, then again.
Thank you, Simon. I guess one of the things, if we look at approaching people or groups that, say, are disgruntled with our consultation or our engagement, would that be a good way to go forward? Because you're saying, you mentioned that if we do the same old thing, we're not going to achieve, we're just going to achieve what we're achieving already. But you also mentioned about people found it hard to find documents and information, etc., on our websites, etc. So the two questions are, one, should we approach and make it specifically about those groups that feel disengaged because they've been in the process and it hasn't worked for them for whatever reason? And the other one is, because a lot of our documents are technical documents, should we do some kind of summary that breaks it down into layman's terms?
On the first question, I think Council hears from plenty of people who are disgruntled, so they're not necessarily the same group as the hard to reach. So I'd just be a little bit wary around that. But yes, you need to hear from people with all kinds of views of council, including disinterest as well as kind of passionate disgruntlement or passionate support. In terms of making information available, I think there's more that could be done. I particularly think there's more that can be done around celebrating success and highlighting, for example, I read in a staff report to council or to a committee or community board, here's what's changed as a result of consultation. I see that coming through quite a lot. I don't always see that kind of being surfaced in comms to the community, and I think that's a really key one. That would be some feedback from me to councils. It's really important to highlight changes that are made and what council does with feedback that it receives.
Thank you. Leanne?
I really like the, definition of madness, that keep doing the same thing over and over again, expect a different result. So I think what I like about the proposal is that it asks us to engage with a range of communities, because our city is quite diverse, and obviously there's the peninsula as well as the city. There are different interests, and as you say, different groups that are hard to reach. So inviting those hard to reach people to come and engage with us about how they'd like to be engaged, seems to me that that's the purpose of this. It's not really the next step about the detailed consultation about specific issues. It's actually about helping us understand how we could change the way we engage. Is that the way you've picked it up? Because first of all, thank you for what you're doing with Think Papanui. That's great.
Thank you. Yes, that's my reading of what's proposed. Is it's not to take feedback it's to take feedback on how to take feedback, so to speak. Yeah. Really, it's that first step of how can we hear from you? How would you like to communicate with us? What would you like to know?
But you said another thing that was really important, and that is closing the loop. So after people have engaged, feeding back to them the result that they had, and also the thank you for being involved, and the offer of continuing to be involved.
Yep, that's what I take from it and what I think is important. And I'd just comment too that what I see here is an expanding of where council's taking its input from. I don't see this at all, and I guess the author of the report can speak to it, but I don't see it as in any sense a shift away from hearing from people, but it's just a sense of widening the scope.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Jimmy?
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your the deputation. Can you to share your experience with us, like our mayor mentioned earlier regarding the community, engage with community? Your definition, what is the community? I just want to know, because while Papanui, I'm not sure, but my home or Richmond Wigan area, there's a diversified community. Geographically, we have a neighborhood support, resident association, community board, and council. But demographically, we have information and service the sectors. We did have different ethnic groups. So your definition should be cover all of them or part of them.
For me, absolutely, it's all of them. And for Think Papanui, it's everybody who lives in or has an interest in the Papanui ward.
All of them.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Where those, because based on the report, they have 30 to 50 residents foreign will be organized this group. What's your view? These 50 people, where they are come from, how to choose? Is random or particular to choose, Peter?
I think there's more to that than I can give you a quick answer in the time available. Sorry, it might be a question for the council to consider. I think it can be done. I've done a fair bit of sort of focus group work and research work, wearing other hats, and 30 or 50 people from across this area will give you good input.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks so much for coming in, Simon.
Thank you.
And we will now move to that paper, since we've just had the deputation on it. So I'd welcome Diane Katie